Welcome back to the Future Self podcast.
But I think if you want a fruitful life, you got to enjoy these things because they do taste good. It is cool sitting there, having a drink with lads, having a beer and getting a little bit tipsy. Yeah, it fills you up. It fills that cup up, doesn't it, potentially?
So,
Yeah,
a question, having beers with mates, why would you do that?
I think it's fun.
So, it's
Yeah,
not what you do, it's why you do it.
yeah.
If you're having a beer because the day at work was stressful,
Mm.
that's where I think it's not okay. If you're having a beer because you hate your life and you're escaping it, that's where I don't think it's okay.
But at the same time, should we need to have the beer? Could we not just sit there? For example, if I go to the beach, 99% of the time, I'm not going to have the beer. But then I'm not going to judge myself if I do want the beer. But should we have to have or need the beer?
No,
No.
I agree. And that's why I'm at that point
Yeah.
again. It's not what you do, it's why you're doing it. So, if you
Yeah.
feel that need to have it because today was a shit day, that is so different from I've had actually a really good day. I'm going to have a beer with a mate and watch the sunset. So I feel, yeah, it's a perspective I think is important from my eyes of why you're doing things. Because you could easily validate, right?
Yeah.
Having a beer, having a burger, having this, having that, because 90% of your life, or 80%, whatever statistic you balance it at, you're showing up for yourself in so many ways. You're leading with self-respect. Having a burger might be leading with self-respect for you because it's creating balance.
You get these people who smoke, drink, live to 90. And then you get another individual who has a heart attack at 50 who's lived this disciplined life of fitness and health and not eating anything that isn't poisoning his body or had any drinks. One of my friends is she's not drank all her life, not smoked. She's got cancer. She's in her 50s. And I'm like, wow. But there's people who are in the 80s, 90s who have lived a completely different lifestyle. Maybe having a drink on the beach with the boys or doing those types of things, maybe you look back and think, maybe I should have done that. Yeah, it's an interesting topic, isn't it?
It is. And I'm quoting something I said from last episode because it relates here. The great tragedy of life is it only makes sense in reverse, but it has to be lived forwards.
Mm.
I just try and lead my choices based on how I would feel if there was an outcome from it. It's not always stressing about the future, but as long as it's aligned to me and it feels right with my values, then no matter what the choice is, whether it on paper looks good or looks bad, I'll always know it was the right thing. But it is a topic that there's always going to be for and against, right? Because how would you feel then if, you were 60 and your liver failed because of the weekend occasional beers you were drinking? Like, how would that feel?
Yeah, I'll tell you a story right now for the listeners. So when my brother died, I went through this like time lapse of, you know what, I'm gonna be just the most, just not even, it's not low level. I'm gonna do things that I will never ever do in my life now, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna think, you know what, I'm in Ibiza. I was living in Ibiza. He died. I had 2 weeks off. I abused my body for a week. Okay, I was still working, and I would wake up. And I'm happy to say this because I want to give people a perspective that I'm where I am at right now, and people will look and like he's got a great lifestyle. He lives in Bali. He can travel the world. He can fly first class. He can buy fancy cars. He can buy a lot of ridiculously expensive things. But looking back then, I woke up pretty much every single day and I would sniff cocaine. I would do it because it was like, it's kind of like I wanted to do it to myself because I wanted to feel low. You know what I mean? The low levels of what you could actually get to when something traumatic happens. And I wasn't judging myself because I was taking myself through this like mental journey of, it was like abuse and pain, but it was for my own enlightenment. like coming out. I knew I was going to come out of it at one point after like 2 weeks, but I kind of lived this different life to give myself a different perspective, and for me to come out of it and to look, you know what, I see all these people here and they do what they do, but you know, I did that because I wanted to experience it. And I knew I was never going to experience it again because I knew my brother would never judge me. And I wasn't judging myself because of the pain I was going through. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm this fitness guy, super successful. I'm going to do this thing because, you know what? Maybe I wanted to. Maybe I just wanted to say, fuck it. I'm gonna do this thing now, and I'm not gonna look back and think you're a piece of shit or anything like that. You're actually gonna laugh and go, wow, you were jumping on meetings on coke, and now look at how successful you got. Look at this business you've got. You've got 40 employees making millions. That's you, and you've done that. So I'm telling you that story because I want people to get motivated and inspired. It's inspired. Motivation's bullshit. It's inspired because that comes from within. I want them to get inspired to look at someone like me and where I'm at, and to just think, oh wow, I've done some stupid things. I've made some bad decisions. I've said all these things. I've made mistakes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't define you. Your past doesn't define you.
Yes.
So I like to talk about some of my secrets, and I've got many stories of what I've done, but I like to do it on camera, and I like to even talk to my team about it because it's relatable in some way. It's relatable. I'm not squeaky clean. I'm not perfect, and you're not perfect. So stop beating yourself up. Yeah.
I Yeah, you're not defined by your past, you're defined by what you choose. And you can choose anything and change at any point in time.